All right, class. Today we are going to be working on more multi-step equations. So the other day we ended up going over these 5 steps. First we would do parentheses, then combining like terms on each side, then move variables, then we would move constants, and then divide or multiply to get the variable by itself. Now, one thing that I want to note, and we're going to be doing with problem number 10 on the back, is that we are going to change our thinking a little bit about parentheses into any grouping symbol in general. So that's why I crossed out parentheses and groupings. It's not that parentheses was incorrect, it just wasn't everything that we could do. So groupings is going to be a little bit more of a broad term that's going to give us a little bit more flexibility about what we can do with these equations. So the first equation that we have here to solve is number 1, 34 minus 3x equals 14x. Now, I guess I do need to tell you guys we are on page 11 of our worksheet packet. My printout, I spilled something on, so I'm working on a hand-printed copy, but you have the same page in your packet. So here we're going to take and follow our directions up here. So do I have any parentheses or any other grouping symbols? I do not. Do I have to combine like terms on each side? Well, this left side I have one term with an x and one term without, so I cannot combine those two. And this one I only have one term, so I cannot combine anything on the left and I cannot combine anything on the right. Then I want to move my variables all onto one side. So right now I have variables on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and move my negative 3x to put it over here. That will give me constants on one side and variables on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and, in order to move my minus 3x, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Minus 3x plus 3x just gives me 0. So then I'm left with just a 34 on the left side and a 17x on the right side. That was following step 3. Step 4 would be to move my constants, but I already have constants on one side and variables on the other, so I can skip step 4. The last step that I need to check to see if I have to do is to divide or multiply to get the variable by itself, and I do. So right now I am multiplying 17 times x. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 17 on both sides. On the right, my 17s just become 1, so 17 divided by 17 is 1. I get a 1x, or just an x. 34 divided by 17 is 2. And I'm going to go ahead and box my answer. These problems are starting to get to be a lot of steps, so please go ahead and either box or circle your answer at the end so that I can see when you are done. So the next problem I'm going to do for this video is question number 5. I want to come back up here to my steps and see what I have to do first. So are there any grouping symbols? And here you can see I have parentheses on both sides. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to distribute my negative 5 through those parentheses. And then on this side I am going to take the 6 and distribute that. So I have a negative 5 distributed through both of these terms. I want to make sure I bring that negative sign with my 5 as I'm distributing it. So negative 5 times 3x gives me a negative 15x, and a negative 5 times a positive 2 gives me a minus 10. Add 9x And then 6 times 4 gives me 24x. 6 times negative 5 gives me a negative 30. So now I want to, that was step 1. Now I want to check to see if I have to do step 2. Combine like terms on each side. So here I only have one with a variable and one without, so I don't have to do anything on the right. On the left, I have two terms that both have a variable. Negative 15x plus 9x, I'm going to get a negative 6x, bring my 10 down, and rewrite the rest of my equation. It's really important that you keep re-showing your work at what's left of your equation each time so you don't lose track of something that you still need to take care of. So that was step 2. Step 3, I'm going to move all of my variables onto one side and all of my coefficients constants onto the other. So what I generally try to do is I try to keep my x's positive if I can. It's just a little bit easier for me. So I'm going to move my x's to the right and move all my constants to the left. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. It's just going to lead to less negative signs, so why not? So I'm going to go ahead and add 6x as my step 3. My minus 6x plus 6x just becomes 0. Now be careful here. I want to watch my signs. That 10 has a negative in front of it. I need to bring that down. That minus sign belongs to that 10. So 0 minus 10 is going to give me a negative 10 down here. Here I get 30x minus 30. Okay, that's step 3. Now I want to move all my constants to the other side. So I brought all my variables to the right. I'm going to move my constants to the left. Here I have a minus 30 that's over here with my x's. I want to get it away from there, so I'm going to move my 30 using the opposite operation. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. Minus 30 plus 30 gives me 0. So I'm left with just a 30x. 30x minus 0 is just 30x. And negative 10 plus 30 is 20. So that was step 4. For the last step, I want to go ahead and divide both sides. Since I have 30 times x, I'm going to go ahead and divide by 30 on both sides to get the x by itself. So 30 divided by 30 is just 1. So I have a 1x, or, oops, sorry. So I have a 1x over here, and then a 20 divided by 30 over on this side. I can simplify that 20 divided by 30 by dividing 10 on both the top and the bottom of that fraction, and I just get 2/3 as my final answer. And again, with all the work that we're showing for this problem, I want to make sure that I am circling my answer at the end. For the next problem, we are going to look at Juan's cake that he has made. He is going to cut this cake into 12 slices and sell these individually. He wants to sell the cake for 3 times the cost of making it. And then the ingredients cost him $8.50. And he allowed $1.25 to cover the cost of electricity. So I'm just circling some of the information, some of the numbers that they gave me that can help me solve this problem. Daniel, stop. Stop that. Get over here. Now. I did not ask. All right, so Juan is asking how much did it cost him to make the cake. So I have a total here of $8.50 for the ingredients and then $1.25 for the electricity. So that is a total of $8.50 plus $1.25 gives me $9.75. So how much should he sell the cake for? Well, let me think. He has here that he wants to sell it for 3 times whatever it costs to make it. Here we figured that it was $9.75 to make it, so I'm going to take that $9.75 and multiply it times 3. That gives me $29.25. So how much should he charge for each piece? Would be the $29.25 divided by 12 slices. So he's going to put this into 12 slices, cut it into 12 slices. That is going to give me, if I do this, $29.25 divided by 12, I'm going to get 2.4375. Now I can't charge this amount, so I'm going to have to round up to the nearest penny, which would make my total, let's change this to approximately $2.44. Now to figure out how much his total profit would be. Well, if he's charging $2.44 per slice, he's going to make that times 12. Now this is going to be different than the $29.25 a little bit, just because he ended up rounding a penny for, or part of a penny for the per slice charge. So 244 times 12 is going to give me $29.28. Now it originally cost him $9.75. So this is how much he's going to be able to sell it for, but his profit is going to be eaten up a little bit by the original cost to make the cake. So it was $9.75. That's going to give me $19.53 when I subtract those. So his final profit is going to be $19.53. Now I promised a little bit of work with those grouping symbols. One of the other ways that we can group numbers other than parentheses is with fractions. So you can see the top of this fraction groups the V and the 9 together, separate from the 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first for this problem, because I want to go ahead and take care of that grouping symbol first. In order to do that, this fraction represents division.